we're going to go ahead at 6 o'clock, and we do have some participants on Zoom. We wanted to make that available, so if anyone was unable to attend in person, that they could come through Zoom. Just use the chat area to ask questions. Q&A, I'm sorry, I apologize. Q&A to ask any questions. I'm going to turn this over to ISG, Lenny Larson and the team, so they can start going over the project, and then we'll hand it off and identify any questions that anyone attending has, and then online as well. So, okay, thanks, Lenny.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. We're excited to be here. One of the things that we wanted to talk about, of course, that you're all interested in is reconstruction of East 6th Street. I'm Lenny Larson. I actually grew up in West Liberty. I grew up on this street that we're talking about. So I'm familiar with the street. And then I also have Barrett Hubbard, who's the project engineer. Nick Furch, who will be the guy out on site inspecting. So he's the one that you're going to be seeing a lot on a day-to-day basis when this project gets started. And then Brad Jipp with Triple B Construction. He is the contractor on the job, and we wanted him to be here just to be able to talk through, because some of the questions that you're going to have later on is access to your property, how that's going to be impacted, and so forth, mail, garbage, those types of things. So the big thing tonight is just to kind of go over the project, answer any questions. We're going to keep it high level to begin with, and just kind of let the questions and the discussion take us in the direction that we need to go. The basis of the project is we're going to be starting at Columbus Street. And what it's going to be is reconstructing the entire street within the right of way, essentially. So the street and the sidewalk, and then your drives will be replaced back as far as they need to go, to have a proper transition, so you can get that weird hump in between from if there's not going to be a lot of major grade changes with the street itself, except when you get to the far east end, because we will be tying in East 6th Street down to Corn Street. So there will be a true tie-in now, and it won't be just a dead end there down at the end of the street. The other piece that we'll be doing as part of this is we'll be replacing Farmers Lane from 6th Street to 7th Street. We're going to stop shy of that curve, because in the future there's a residential development going on down at that far end of 7th Street, and they're going to be redoing that intersection for what they need to. And as part of this, we're going to be replacing utilities. So there will be new water main, new water services to the curb stop. If you do happen right now, the city has gone in and checked for lead services and galvanized services. But if you are lead, we are going to replace that all the way to the water meter as part of this. If one's not known, we'll let you know if that's the case, because we might not know until that time comes when the contractor gets out there and starts constructing, but we'll notify you at that time. The other piece that we're going to be doing is, if you're east or west of Clark Street on 6th Street, you don't have to worry about your sewer. Your sewer is not going to be disturbed. If you're east of Clark Street, the sewer is going to be replaced, because the sewer west of Clark Street is all in the alleyways. Whereas once you get east of Clark Street, it's actually in the center of the road to Corn Street. So that will be replaced. And then the service itself will be replaced to the right-of-way line. The city will be, we're working on a 10-foot construction or temporary construction easement, that those agreements are getting prepared right now. And the other piece is storm sewer. It will be starting, the storm sewer down on Clark Street, and the intersection isn't going to change a lot, but it will be going westward towards the highway, with intakes starting at Miller Street, and then there will be a series of intakes going down along 6th Street until we get down to Clark Street. So east of Clark Street, there's plenty of fall, so we're not adding a ton, but
there are a couple intakes.
I
believe there's one pair near Farmers Lane. Yeah. And then another pair
just east of that. So
right
in front of
that's additional.
Yeah, those will be new.
Yeah. So drainage isn't a huge concern, because the street does have a lot of grade to it, but just to improve drainage, so it's not getting out into the gutter lane when you get those heavy rains. We're going to try and minimize that as much as possible. So the other piece that we'll be doing is the electric utility. That's going to be going underground. And the electric utility, their portion of the project bids later this month. But then they'll be having overhead electric services going to each household. But at some point in time in the future, they'll be going underground. We're gonna be laying underground conduit underneath the street, so it doesn't have to be disturbed again. So in the future, when they go to install that electric utility, that electric service to each household, you won't have to be tearing up that street again at that time. The other piece that we will be doing is we'll be putting in sub drain behind the back of curb, and that's to drain the pavement underneath that. There's gonna be a nice rock base underneath the pavement, and there's gonna be sub drain that's perforated to drain that. And then if you have a sump pump that's coming out to the curb, we're gonna tie that into the sub drain at that time too, if it's not already tied into something already.
Does that, wiring that's going underground, does that include cables?
That piece, yes, so Lumen is coming out, they'll be boring their stuff here in the near.
Mediacom, if it's Mediacom, we don't do anything with them.
Yeah, so-
Run stuff.
What do you think?
Mediacom, so we don't know what Mediacom's doing yet, they still have yet to tell us their plan for that.
Telecom is gonna be trenched in with the electric though, so.
And then the gas main and the gas services will be getting relocated to get a little deeper to get underneath the pavement section. So they're working on getting their contractor hired right now. And then that work will be starting. So really the phasing of this project, the street also, Miller to Columbus Street is about 29 feet wide right now. It's not really getting widened. The brick is getting replaced with concrete to make it one concrete section across there. And it's gonna be 29 feet wide the entire way down to Corn Street. When you get east of Clark Street, the street narrows pretty significantly. It narrows a little bit between Clark and Miller Street, but east of Clark Street to Corn Street, it's about 20 feet wide, 19 to 20 feet wide. So it is going to get 5 to 10 feet. Or 9 to 10 feet wider at those locations. So roughly each side of right away, you're looking at
So what's the total width?
29 feet from, and that's back of curb to back of curb. The other piece that we'll be doing, like I said, is sidewalks. So those will be getting replaced. Originally, we were hoping to have this project done in one season. However, with the electric utility and the gas utility having to relocate their services out of the way, that their work will be done. We're looking at phasing this so the east portion, East Clark or Clark Street to Corn Street is the first phase of this project, along with Farmers Lane. That's gonna be phase one, and that probably won't start until at the earliest August. So when we get the bids back for the electric utility and we get the schedule from the gas utility, we'll be posting updates on schedule. We'll have a link for the city website that will have a link to a construction site that will be posting updates as time moves through. And as you get through the project, we're also going to be posting weekly updates there, just so you kind of know how construction's going, what's the next activity upcoming, so you can prepare for this piece as you go through it.
How long will we be without electric or gas when we're working on them?
That's something I don't know. It won't be a super long disturbance, but that's something I'll have to work with each of those utilities to know the exact time frame. I don't know that answer at this time. So those are things that when we're getting to that work, we'll be letting you know what disturbance you'll have, because there will be a period of time when they're switching over water from the old main to the new main and tying in your services that you'll be out of service. East of Clark Street with the sewer service, there's going to be a period of time that we're going to tell you, please don't use your toilets or sink or washing appliances in order to be able to get that sewer service reconnecting that sewer back in. So you'll be notified, and with those things, we'll actually be hanging door hangers on your property just so you're aware of what's coming up. So and when we're disturbing your properties, such as services, you'll be getting those door hangers so you know when it's coming, and you'll have at least 48 hours of notice in relation to that. That's our timeline. If it gets a little shorter than that, we'll be making sure that we communicate with you, but that's our intent at this time. So just trying to go through.
With the water and sewer services, those will be short.
Yeah.
Time when you'll be out, but you'll always have your service back by the end of the night, so.
Correct. Yeah, you're not looking at days without services.
What about the poles and streetlights? That all gonna be replaced?
Yeah, so the poles will be replaced with new street lights that the electric.
Streetlights?
Yeah, so the electric.
Let's throw them ugly ones away then?
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with the new ones.
Jeez.
Yeah. What will they look like?
So, right now, at this time, we are looking at, what they consider more of a slim Cobra head. An updated edition with LED that, will have less, but one that provides more illumination, for the entire street versus what we have now.
It's so bright now, it looks like a Walgreens parking lot.
And it
Yes.
shines through into
Dim 'em down.
Bedrooms
Yeah.
and- windows.
Based on, I don't have all that information because we're still working on the electric side of this. Once we have that information, then we'll post that as we'll put that up as part of the project.
Sure.
But what we've identified so far is again, a more streamlined type look that has, LED, and that has less poles, but more illumination with the poles that we're planning on putting in there.
Shorter.
Based on their standards that you were required to go by with public safety as far as the height of the pole. But those will be things that we'll still have to work through with our electric construction side of this.
I'm thinking of going with this dark sky with the shielded lights in.
With the, I'm sorry, what was
They
that?
call it dark sky, most of these cities are going to it. Or
I-
they shield the lights so that you can actually see the stars for a change.
Not to my knowledge,
Okay,
not to my knowledge, yeah.
well, I
yeah,
still have to drive out west.
Yeah.
Or just a little east to the country, or down the Wapsie. But,
No, it's.
and then, so yeah, mainly construction schedule, like I was saying, the big thing is we're gonna let the gas and electric utility get their infrastructure out of the way, and then Brad will be coming in, and their plan is to start Clark to Corn Street to get their utilities out of the way, and then that section of street, we're hoping to have that section this year completed, and then more than likely the west half of the project will be completed next year. And then the one piece I didn't mention is, it's not really gonna affect any of you, is east, we are gonna replace the water main across Columbus to Spencer Street. That way, that and the entire section of Sixth Street in town has new water main. So they're getting that all replaced. It's gonna be an 8-inch water main, so you're getting an increase in size for it. And then your services, like I said, will be copper, or no, these will be polyethylene services, and then a new curb stop.
What about access to driveways? Are you doing like half of the street so people can still get into their driveways?
So, during, we won't be doing half of the street, they'll be doing the whole street. However, they'll get the pavement removed, there will be some work in between. I'll let Brad talk a little bit more detail because he'll be the contractor on site. But they will be able to allow access, but once they start getting paving operations done, that section of street will be closed. And if we do need to provide access for folks, the contractor will be working with you to make sure you're able to get to your property. But there will be a period of time, especially when the paving operations go, and during the day when they're doing underground work, if they're going across the street with a service or something, they may be closing off that section. And then the one thing that we're gonna be talking about is if it's empty for a while, there will be a rock base that you'll be able to drive on the sub base when that gets installed. So
Yeah, so we'll remove the pavement. I don't know if there's any kind of facility to it. I don't know that yet. So if there is any kind of rock base, it'll stay there as temporary access. And all the utilities get backfilled with rocks, so we'll have a base there, but as we do the utilities, we'll try to open up driveways at the end of each day. I mean, there could be a day where we stop, in your driveway, but then it should be opened up the next night when you get home. But once we start grading and paving, especially when they pave, it's that block or whatever, 2 blocks is gonna be cut down until they get the maturity testing done on it.
Yeah.
But that work goes pretty quick.
What's
Utility
your time, 5 to 7 days?
So yeah, well, all right, sorry, go ahead.
maturity testing, it's usually a little quicker.
Yeah, so they're doing maturity testing here instead of the 5 to 7 days, which typically after 7 days, they'll do a concrete break on a core. And if it reaches 3,000 pounds per square inch, then they're able to open up that street. But here they're gonna be doing maturity testing, which gives you hopefully will shorten that time that that road is closed after it gets paved. So, that's one thing that the contractor is doing. The contractor on this project that's doing the paving is, Strat out of, they do a lot of work in Iowa City and Cedar Rapids, so. I know you're probably typically used to seeing All American Concrete as the concrete, contractor, but this project, it will be Strat.
And then did I read that you're gonna be planting 3 trees for everyone that you cut down?
You buy them, I'll plant them.
No, I think I read that somewhere.
Yeah, what is the plan for that?
It's a 3 trees for every one you cut down.
The reason the trees are going down is because when you're digging through with the utilities and the new sidewalk and everything, you're gonna be digging up the roots. So it's going to do a lot of damage to those trees that were within the right of way. So there was a discussion about potentially working around them. But after you get done with all this work and you're gonna be disturbing that root structure, more than likely, a lot of them are gonna go down in shape and deteriorate. You don't know how long that will be, but a lot of times when you're doing street reconstruction, you'll see those trees die off in a couple of years. Right now, there's not an intended plan to plant trees, based on the feedback, but that's something that hasn't.
Well, I think it said so right in the write-up, doesn't it? Adam?
Not that I know of.
So for the right of ways, we do not have a plan to replace the tree. One, because your utilities are going underground and then the tree roots create more maintenance issues because of the utility right of way. And at this time, we do not plan on putting a tree back in the right of way there.
So,
That's
just
not
on
what it
this
says.
retreat, how much front yard from sidewalk to front yard are we going to have, I guess? I just. was
So it
curious.
depends where you're at.
Okay, yeah.
If you're in the 2 blocks from Columbus to Clark, we have an 80-foot right of way. Okay. The sidewalk is actually going to be set to fit within a 60-foot right of way. So where the sidewalk currently is actually going to move in closer to the street and you're going to get more space within that area. If you're on the other side where there might not be sidewalk or something like that, again, I mean, it's designed because we only have 60 feet of right of way from Clark out to Corn. So that's why we chose to do that, just so it stayed consistent the whole way through, right? That sidewalk will be right at that. The back of that sidewalk will be at that 60.
Will we be aligned then with the sidewalks coming up with Columbus? Is that what you're saying?
No, they're actually going to be in. So if you look on this page right here, you can see where the sidewalks are here. They're
Yeah.
way out, and then they come in
You're
here.
gonna move them back in again?
Yeah, they're going to get moved in.
Okay.
So
Is there an opportunity for individual homeowners to come in and look at their site specifically to see how their property line is gonna be affected or what the setback will be? I mean.
Yeah, so
that
we-
they can
on
look
these, we
into
do
to see
have-
what it's gonna do to their property.
yeah, we do have temporary construction easement lines drawn on these maps here, and I believe we even have we do have addresses on there, so you should be able to find your house.
Yeah.
Fairly quickly.
At the end, we'll let you come up and we can talk to you individually about your property, but for the group setting, we're just trying to talk holistically right now, so. But as far as, so we're giving the contractor 10 feet into the property with that construction easement document, to be able to do work, and then they'll grade it back in, and seed it. So if it doesn't get seeded, or if seed doesn't take this year, they'll be back in the spring to get seeding to take. So there's not always a guarantee that the first time you seed a property that the seed's gonna take right away, but that's something under the contract that they have a warranty to come back and get that addressed.
We'll take those sidewalks all the way down to the ball diamond then too?
Yep.
Both sides?
Yep.
That's not city property on the north, is it?
We're keeping it within city right away.
So like
Oh,
where
on
the
street.
Yeah.
where the pen is there, where it's right close, that pen actually sits on the property, so that fence line is going to get moved back a little bit, so the tree.
Well, they're gonna open that up for the ball diamond and.
Yep.
Let's go ahead. The ball just put in all the way down too. Sounds good.
So the water main's gonna go on the south side of 6 or the north?
South
side. South.
Yep, south side. Because that
Between the
lines up
sidewalk
that lines
and-
up with where it is at Spencer.
So
There's gonna be a lot of roots
I'm gonna tell you, they're on day 4 on my tree. And they're still not dead.
That big oak tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
can tell
I
you
moved across
6.
the street too.
The hydrant's gonna get relocated, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so Miller and 6th Street, the hydrant will be in front of the Handbrake property. On that corner, right by the intersection of the sidewalks. Clark Street, it will be on the southeast corner of the street intersection. And then down on Farmers Lane, it will be right across the street on the south side from Farmers
In
Lane.
front of our house. Something else for you to decorate, honey.
And then the southwest corner for Corn Street. And then we are, as part of Farmers Lane reconstruction, that one's a narrow street. You remember the exact width of that one?
I want to say it's 22, 5, or 24, 25, something like
I
that.
thought it was 46.
Okay, maybe 26. Does it say on here?
That's
That's what-
paving, that's paving, 26.
Yeah, it's something in that 25, 24 to 26 foot range. And then that will only have sidewalk on the east side. The right of way is too narrow to put sidewalk on both sides of the street on Farmers Lane. So,
On your side of the street.
Yeah, and I'm less mowing all the time here.
and the white fence that sits up there will not be impacted.
Right.
Okay, so
And then the fence, that pin, that's just getting relocated as part of
So-
the fence portion of it.
on the west side,
Yeah.
that part, the fence, it's kind of a wooden decorative fence-ish
Oh,
thing.
they're cedar rail?
Yeah, the cedar rail, the
They
cedar-
don't care about it.
Well, if they don't want it, I guess it doesn't have to go back
Yeah,
in, but
well,
it's gonna need to get pulled out to be.
Yeah.
For the work to be done, and it's in the contract to put it back in, so similar with it, so.
Well, this is an individual thing, but the elevation there from the street to our yard is fairly dramatic right at the corner. And then on farther north, it gets that way too, that I assume that the level of the street's gonna remain the same.
Right at the intersection, it's gonna come down, so we're gonna actually cut down, so where the sidewalk goes through on the north side of 6th Street, that's gonna all be basically at street level.
Oh.
Right, cause the street's getting widened. And where the sidewalk goes through, we want that to be at a lower elevation, and then there's a vertical curve that'll get in. So about the time where we get to where the driveways are, we should be back close to what the existing elevation is. Of the street.
Vertical curve, like a rock face thing or something?
No, it's a way that we change elevation of the road.
So
Right.
there will be a curve, like a slight curve in the road as you go.
So we'll change the elevation from the road elevation where it is out on 6th Street
Uh-huh.
up to the elevation that the road is
Yeah.
by where the driveways are for the two houses that are there.
We'll talk later.
So that's just engineer speak for how we change elevations to the road.
Okay.
Yeah, so essentially it will look a little bit like that, a square
Okay.
curve. So this is 6th Street where this end is, and it's curving up.
Yeah, and I have a set of plans that actually shows what
So
the,
you won't
profile-
notice it so much when you're going
profile
over it,
is.
but
that I can show
if you're
you.
looking
wanna
at a
see
smooth
what
profile
with that. That's a pretty.
So you
that's
won't
about
drag
a
your ass in
drop.
every time you turn to go up there too?
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
we're trying to make that a little. less.
Yeah, because that was one of the things that the city brought up to us early on in the project was like when the garbage truck and stuff like that goes up there and the
Yeah.
snowplow in the wintertime, it's really difficult for them to get up there. So it'll be a lot easier to actually drive it the way that it's designed.
That's understood. I mean, people bottom out on that all the
Yep,
time.
exactly.
All the time now, the trailers. Yes. We're gonna have to put a pretty deep cut down by the ballpark too then, right?
Correct.
That's gonna be
Correct.
another one of these things you're
Yep.
talking about?
Yeah.
Correct.
So,
Okay.
about where the last house is on the south side, I think where their driveway is, I think we've got 1.5 to 2 foot of cut of finished road elevation going down. So their driveway is gonna get a little bit steeper. We kind of use that driveway as like, what's the maximum that we can do to lower the road to be able to still get good access into their house. So, it's not it's not horrible, but it's gonna be steeper than it is today.
It's not gonna be like changing your oil and going up one of those ramps.
Yeah. So,
Why do you feel that you even need to cut that down to the ballpark?
so,
Why do you feel you need to put that in? You
so
got beautiful access on Fifth Street and to all the park down there.
Yeah, it's just something that has been discussed with the city, that making that connecting all the way down there for just ease of traffic and everything, so people don't get down
Even
there.
though the park is not being used hardly ever anymore, it seems like getting carried away, maybe, I don't know.
You wanna, that's probably a question for the city.
So, Mr. Runner, we have, in preparation, we have a housing development that's going to be occurring on the east side, at the end of East 8th Street.
So
And
you're gonna put a road across from the ballpark then too, you're saying, eventually?
no, what the plan is that with more housing development, there's a section in there that they're proposing for more housing development. And one plan is moving forward on East 8th Street. And so from a traffic control and a public safety, by doing that this way, then we can provide individuals to have more
Can you show us on
widening of
there?
a space, so
Where, like, where?
That'd be
it's not gonna show up on.
It's up
It's up on top.
Okay, so you're connecting that road
Maybe
and
they're
then there'll
gonna
be
do
another
it in the
road.
fall.
So this right here,
Yeah.
where's it?
won't be a road.
It's not gonna go.
No, this won't, yeah, we're connecting it down.
You going north a little further?
And then
There's a housing shop now.
this is gonna help with this flow, how?
What's that?
what-
Being able to have this access to.
Instead of going all the way around, if you're over there.
Yeah.
And then-
It's gonna be city.
So we-
Just off it.
we had to
This is
raise
7-3.
the road elevations because currently
It's to be able to allow.
Because there will be
lots
lots feet lower
Seven
than
Street.
Sixth Street does.
But they can.
So cut Sixth Street down a little bit, actually
Right, but
bring
it,
Front Street up a
it
little
just
bit
creates more.
to be able to make that connection be not
Instead of having the dead end.
insanely steep.
We also have that trail, a walking trail that we're trying to connect to.
Oh, yeah.
As well, that we started.
Yeah,
okay.
On Wapsie.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just, there's
Long-term plan.
long-term planning
Okay.
and in addition to having the utility done, since we were gonna be in the area, upgrading utility, then it was our idea, looking at what the cost is now, that it was best for us to proceed forward, and take that in Farmers Lane into consideration, as far as traffic control goes for growth, a potential use of the park, because we are adding more mileage on walking trails and having the accessibility to public safety vehicles, because for whatever reason, if they needed to come through that area, you know, if they can't get through these other areas, it's very difficult through there. And so taking all of those things into consideration, it's like be proactive, especially with costs, because it doesn't get less expensive to do it in the future. So,
But long term, that plan is for that to be a dead end. Down to the ballpark. There's no other street.
At this time, yeah, there's not any plans of this
Yeah.
connecting through, but this would allow it if that ever were the case in the
that
future.
was the
There's nothing gonna go
But
north there on that.
Currently, that's something that's harder because this is owned by a private owner. There's no city right away.
Out of town.
So
I would suggest a 15-degree bank on that curve, since the driving pattern down six just racetrack scale already. So. And maybe a high guardrail.
well, that's the other piece of street maintenance, snow plowing down at that dead end, being able to just plow through into the
Yeah,
park.
yeah.
Will also help there too. So
So when is that walking trail gonna, where will it go?
So currently, right now, we have, it's just all depending on, future funding to extend the trail. As we're talking about, there is a housing development that is set to go in where Lenny's pointing.
Okay.
And part of their development agreement is they're going to have a connecting trail.
Over to the creek and then down.
Over to the Wapsie Trail, or at
Yeah.
least be able to set it up to connect either through the multi-purpose sidewalk that connects into the trail.
Great idea.
So essentially, you know, it's falling in line with our goal to have a walkability community. And there are times where we may not be able to be on a trail all the time, but you have a multi-purpose trail that you can pick up on through a sidewalk, I'm sorry, and then connect over into a walking trail.
Could
So
a
it's
bridge it to
yeah,
that? We
what's that?
probably bridge it somewhere?
A bridge.
A bridge.
Yeah, so currently the Department of Transportation on, Highway 6, they've agreed with us that they're gonna do a pedestrian, crossway with the new bridge that's being installed there. So that way, when you leave Wapsie, you'll have the ability to walk across the bridge safely to connect over. But I know our Parks and Recreation, they've been working on, looking at how we can do a walk trail across Wapsie itself.
Yeah.
But with drainage and, there's a little more tricky situations when we're crossing a.
100-year floodplain.
Right, yeah. So, but they are looking at that.
Are those, the new development, is that gonna be, single family homes?
Yes.
Okay. That's
100%.
Mhm.
How many homes?
I think right now we're
I think it's 28.
20, I think it was proposed originally at 28, I think we're maybe down to 26 now.
Jeez.
What's the main driver or 2 to 3 drivers of the project?
What is that?
What are the main like 2 to 3 drivers of the whole project? Of doing this project?
So this is a part of our streetscape plans, about 15 years ago, we had a street study done for all of the streets in the city of West Liberty. We prioritized the streets based on that street study. And so for us, it's identifying from, I hate to say, but which is the worst, makes the top priority, and then down. And for us, it's also we've had drainage issues on that side in that area, the narrowness of the street, having the utilities as well, plus with the lead and copper compliance with DNR. It gets us started in an opportunity to work with residents with upgrading those.
The water pressure is very bad on 6th Street.
So there were multiple reasons.
So
Water pressure in the pipes on 6th Street.
will there be other projects similar to this for other streets?
So yes, we have a listing of 3 projects, just like I said, we do a 10-year, I think we've got it out to 15 years now, is a capital improvement plan. And through that, we identify, we stay in line with our street study. And then through that capital improvement planning process, we identify which streets are going to be constructed in. However, there are some legislative changes that are impacting bonding, general obligation bonding. This definitely will probably slow up some of that process once it's all said and done, but there's still a lot of unknowns. Because general obligation, in order to improve our streets, it does have an impact on property taxes. In order for us to bond to fix the streets, and the utility side of it covers their expenses, but the bigger part of it with the street, and that is done with property tax dollars. So that is where we're at with this one. Is it had been on our capital projects. I think we're behind maybe a year on this project. And we will continue to fall in line with our capital projects based on our funding and how our debt capacity for us to do these.
And we weren't the engineers that
You
did
were
the,
talking about some 10-foot easement for construction.
Yeah.
Does that mean that from where the new sidewalk, you can go on to the yard another 10 feet to
it
work?
would be from the right of way line, it would be 10 feet.
From-
And that's the tie, like if they're doing grading changes.
So the 10
the
feet
tie
is
back
onto
in,
our
and also
property
the
for
services.
construction, right?
Yeah, for construction, and then that will all be
It would be really stupid to try and move your landscape out of the way right now because you're gonna run over it. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
But 10 feet beyond.
Yeah, beyond the property line. It's not saying that the contractor would use that full 10 feet, but in cases that.
But you have a right to run your equipment back there if you have to, right?
Yeah, like when you do like sewer tie and you take those.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if you have a 60-foot right of way.
Yep.
Then you're talking about 80-foot.
Yeah, 10 feet each direction.
10 foot on the your yard.
Okay.
Okay.
And those are the agreements that are gonna be sent out that you guys will.
You guys can coffee break in our living room.
Let's bring the coffee.
They probably weren't shitting with.
Our end of Sixth Street has, our mailboxes are on the curb.
Correct. Those are gonna
So
be,
how are we gonna do mail delivery?
that was one thing we were gonna discuss tonight. The mailboxes will be removed and then reinstalled at the end of the project. Except there's the one brick one that we're gonna be working through, and that's on the far east side. However, there's a couple options where it could be PO boxes, or we could have temporary, like a mailbox.
Gang box.
It's kind of a preference to what people want to do. We can either set up a central mailbox bank or outside of the.
Yep.
Well,
work
why don't we,
limits.
Gang box would be my preference.
why don't we just go to the post office? You know, the reason they did
Just
that
on one little spot.
is because we were short on homes and now we've got homes crowded up on both sides. So why don't you just go back to standard delivery like the rest of the city? Is there a way for you to just approach it that way?
With the, where they would do, what's the question?
Well, we used to have standard delivery, just like the rest of the, where the postman came around and put it in your mailbox in the front of the house.
You're talking about the mailbox right up at your door?
Go
Yeah.
back to foot delivery rather than.
Oh.
And then they decided we didn't have enough homes on the,
That's
on
out.
the.
It's not on you.
Oh. No, that's out of the city's control. That's the post office. We could ask them. Yeah, no, that's something we can talk about.
And I made a note, I'll reach out to the celebrity postmaster.
Yeah, no, I know that difference is.
We're gonna make the whole city.
That's what I was.
Yeah, that's out of anybody's control here. That's all from the
Yeah.
master.
No, jump the line.
We can go on some of the streets.
Huh?
Yeah.
Well, they tried to make the whole city put up.
If she still was a postman,
We'll reach out to them and ask, on behalf of everyone on there. See to what they can work with you on.
We'll let
We
you know.
can
We
make
don't-
recommendations and we can at least ask, and see if they are willing to work with it, and then, I'll definitely let them know that, talking about having mail delivery too, with your box on your house in the future, but
And then one
just
quick,
the input, I can't, we know how the US Postal Service, they,
One final, what about street parking? We've never had street parking.
mhm.
Could we keep it that way?
good, that's up to the city there, but no, it would be, right now it's set to have it on the one side, I think the north side.
North side. So with the wider street, it's set up currently to have parking on the north side of the street, no parking on the south side, and that's city ordinance.
Is that final? Or is that up for discussion still, or?
Don't you have
So
ordinance that you have to have parking on the street for every car you have?
So our preference was to have street parking, simply because we do have homes that when they have guests, or they have people over, that there is sometimes difficulty with parking in the area. So when we did the design, we planned it within mind that they would at least be able to have public parking on one side of the street. Because in the future, maybe there's only a few in your household now. But again, it's a long term of, someday if you have a larger family or, again, just identifying that people, have guests occasionally and want to have places to park, so.
Well, we've been there for 80 years, had lots of guests, lots of
Right.
kids. We've always managed to find places to park off the street
Well, we've been very fortunate that you've been an understanding resident.
No, that's what, the thing I like about
But-
that, when you drive down my street and I can see the neighbors on both sides and say hi.
So is that, you have all that off-street parking and then you've narrowed your road again.
This is not the time and place to have a big argument about it, I realize.
No, but what we're saying is that we've identified it to be
I
consistent
know,
with all of our public streets. And at this point in time, if you don't have a lot of people that are currently parking on, within the households, if you don't have a lot of folks that are currently parking, it would be my understanding that you probably are not gonna see much of a change, but at least then they have the option for those households that do have guests or have families that maybe grow, that they have the option for the street parking.
But is that final or is that something that?
That's final in our plans right now.
North side?
North side.
The east side or west side?
So unless the
What's
city
that?
ordinance
So
changes.
Farmer Lane, east side.
No, that one won't have parking on the street. It's
Like, change ordinance, and right now our plans are
Yeah.
finalized.
I
with
was
this.
doing the math.
Yeah,
We
no.
completed all
For
of
the
our-
29-foot wide road, it like on Miller Street, to Columbus, it's parking on the north side. It would be similar where you won't be able to have two cars go by unless you have smaller vehicles. You'll have to let one pass.
We actually had company that was parked on the lawn there, like with a white fence.
Well, I'm not saying, I'm just saying that
So
being
I'm
on the north side,
Yeah.
the south side where only apartments and everything are. In a lot.
What about our garbage and recycling pickup?
That will be, so you'll pull that out so the contractor can take that down so the garbage can handle it, and then they'll be making sure that you get your cans back.
We'll work with the city to make sure it gets picked up.
Oh, so we don't do it in the alley?
I don't
No.
know.
No, oh, that's good.
No.
Okay, thank you. Well, that's what the tree service did today. They took the garbage out and. Yeah. That was nice.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what the contractor will be doing, is working with the city to get that point.
Just to give you an idea, in the last projects we did, like on Naughty Circle Drive and Gibson area, what we did is the contractors, we work with them and they would based on garbage days and recycling days, they would coordinate to bring all of the garbage or the recycling cans to one location. So then that way, that didn't put a burden on the homeowner. So it would be my understanding.
That would be the same.
We'll coordinate the same based on where we're at within the phase and that construction.
Actually, the tree service has been doing that as well.
Okay, good.
You know, I mean,
That's good.
even though it's been 4 days.
Yep. Well, that's off to a good start then.
It's so tall.
But yeah, moving forward, when we get to closer, we'll be posting highlights 2 weeks ahead of time, and probably once we know the bidding schedule, we'll post an update saying kind of tentatively when it's scheduled work to start on the east half of Clark Street or east of Clark to Corn Street, and then as we get closer, we'll be providing updates as construction nears, and if anything changes in the meantime, we'll be sure to let everyone know.
So you're gonna be starting on the east end first, right?
Yep, that's the most difficult end of the project.
Yeah.
So trying not.
So eventually we may have to work at the bottom of the hill or something for a while.
Correct.
All right.
And we'll be providing updates on what your access looks
Well,
like
I'm
there.
not worried about it, but I'm just,
It changes.
makes sense.
And if you need rides, I think we'll be able to get you rides to your property if needed to,
Right.
from the bottom of the hill, depending on the individuals.
Oh, I thought maybe you're gonna send us all on a world cruise.
Might be in the bucket of the skid loader.
I'm sorry, earlier you made some reference to August being the date for beginning
The work,
work on the east end?
yeah,
Okay. But, and your target is to be done with that by November?
correct.
Okay.
So that's the target, but we'll have to keep you updated because weather will play out.
That's your target.
November.
Just depends on the electric and the gas and
Yeah.
when they start. and-
If they start too late, then we'll.
There's always someone else to blame.
In this case.
I've practiced it on my whole life, so I.
So,
Good.
Do we have any Q&A on?
If somebody wants access to the overall street plan, how do they get that?
So they can contact our city clerk.
Okay.
And then we can provide, for electronic file, it's really large. So my recommendation is that we would set an appointment. You can come in and you can look at the larger plans for that. But we will have everything, as Lenny had stated first when we started speaking about project, we'll have a online connection. And again, I am understanding that not everybody is comfortable with being through our city's website. So my recommendation is if you're not comfortable looking to the city's website and clicking on the links of the project, just simply reach out to myself. We do have an email if that's more convenient for some folks I can't talk tonight, specific to the project. So that way we can don't lose our communication amongst many other pieces of communication we get daily. So that way we have anything specifically identified to the project that we can stay on top of that.
Yeah, our goal is to try and communicate as much as we possibly can, especially if it's gonna be causing big disruptions now.
Yeah.
Could you put a link on your home page that just says, "So take me to the."
Yeah.
That.
So there is already one set up.
Is there?
It is one of the main links underneath the drop downs.
Okay.
And it is just labeled city projects. It takes you to a page that has all of the current city projects and all of the documents, media, and then all of the meetings, agendas, and recordings will be there as well.
Okay.
So all these are on there.
Not yet. They will be.
It will be.
So it'll say, there's a thing that says 6th Street Project or,
Yep.
okay.
Like
It's just, I know some of the files are a little bit large. And so when you're putting them on a website and trying to click on based on your system, that's not always.
So yeah,
There's a little bit of complication that can go in from their files to being able to view it.
you'll be able to come up and look at these and take a look at all these today. And then like I said, if you want to see, we have a set of full plans. So I stripped the profile off from these because you guys mostly aren't going to care about what that is. It's underground stuff and it's what the road elevation is for things. So we didn't think that you guys really cared about that, and it gave us a chance to make these a little bit bigger and more visible. Yeah, so but so that's what that is. But so the full plan set, like we have one here. If you really want to come through it and look at it tonight, you're more than welcome to.
Can we take photos of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, these are all public records.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any other recommendations from attendees when it comes to within our means to work with our communication? If there's anything you can think of this evening, again, I want to, be understanding that not everyone uses the same access to get information. So we're trying to do the best that we can to make sure that we're diversifying how we communicate and covering to the best of our ability.
We'll be doing the link to the website, of course. That's not set up, or our portion isn't set up for that because construction besides the tree removal, construction hasn't gotten into it yet. But then the other piece will be bi-weekly newsletters that will be going out. However, the city decides to disperse that, and we'll have an aerial showing the work that's being done, what's been done the last couple of weeks, 2 weeks looking ahead. So you have an idea on that. And then, like I said, as things change, are things that do happen that are going to impact your residents directly, we will be doing door hangers as needed throughout the project. So